Good afternoon and welcome to our April 26th Rotary Club of Columbus meeting. We'll call our meeting to order. At this point, I'd like to call on Phil if he would come and give us invocation according to his faith tradition. Phil, if you would come.
So since I joined Rotary a few months ago, I've really been thinking a lot about the four-way test, particularly the first line of all the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? We live in the midst of a society where many people don't know what truth is. We talk about my truth, your truth, the society's truth, and there's such confusion. And I just want to, the Lord's put on my heart, and I want to exhort you. Of course, we all know we need to be honest in our dealings in business. We need to be truthful with what we say to people. But beyond that, we have a responsibility to help others see and recognize truth. Because there's not my truth, your truth, there's the truth. And so just with that in mind, let's pray. Father in heaven, I love you, and I'm so grateful that you love me and you love every one of us more than we could ever realize. Lord, you've given us so much, and with that comes great responsibility. Father, you have blessed us, and you expect us to use those blessings to help others. Thank you for Rotary, for the purpose and the desire in the hearts of my fellow Rotarians that they want to serve others. I pray that you would guide us, that you would use us to do your work to help others, particularly in the area of recognizing truth, Lord. It hurts my heart every single day when I see so many people, their lives are broken and hurt. And I know it's because they are being deceived by the enemy and they don't see the truth. Help me, help us to be used by you to help others to see the truth, that it would set them free, and may it set us all free. We praise you. Thank you for the food we have today, and we love you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Please remain standing as we pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. You may be seated. Call on Alston at this point to give us our news for today.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Here is a look at your headlines. Home sales exceed expectations. While sales of residential homes are down as compared to March 2022, sales of new homes in March of this year exceeded economists' predictions both in quantity and purchase price. Despite March's economic uncertainties and rising interest rates, buyers who are working from home more and starting families seem undeterred. The Hawks move forward. The Atlanta Hawks rallied against the Boston Celtics to win 119-117 in Game 5 of the playoffs. They are set to play Game 6 Thursday in Atlanta, which bumps Janet Jackson's concert that was planned for Thursday in State Farm Arena to Friday. That's important because it affects the traffic for Taylor Swift concert fans going on Friday, so plan accordingly. John House resigns. City Councilor John House announced his resignation from City Council last week. Yesterday, Tyson Begley was appointed in his position for District 10 by the City Council. His term will run through the end of 2024. Your weather forecast is very cloudy outside with a chance of thunderstorms later today with a high of 77 and a low of 57. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Austin. At the point we call on David, who will introduce our visitors and guests. We give him our attention, please.
Good afternoon and welcome. We have some wonderful guests and friends visiting with us. Of course, Laury, our GRSP student and host today, brought some friends with her. She brought Megan and Emma Roberts. Megan and Emma, will you stand up, please? These are twins from Columbus State University and friends of Laury. And she also brought Camille Standeroop, who's our GRSP student from North Columbus and Muskogee Rotary. welcome to you all, and thank you for coming, and thank you for befriending Laury for all this time, too. Joe Zanga, who used to be a member here, for those of you who remember, Joe, where are you, Joe? Joe brought Alex Haig. Joe is now with the Sanford Rotary in North Carolina, correct? And Alex is new to Columbus. He's from Denver. He's the audit manager for Ritchie May, which is a top 100 public accounting firm in the nation. And he specializes in mortgage banking and hedge funds and works out of Catawba, Georgia. So welcome to both of you. And Rob Chapa brought Caitlin McLemore. Caitlin, where are you? Oh, there you are. There's Caitlin. Caitlin is Caitlin is awards manager for the National Infantry Museum. Welcome, Caitlin. And Tyler Townsend brought Caleb Bradley. Caleb is an intern with Tyler Wealth Management. So welcome all our guests. Please join with me in giving them a round of applause.
To all our visitors and guests, we just like to, again, we welcome you and thank you for being with us, and especially Joe, it's good to see you. Welcome home. Glad to have you with us today. At this point, I'd like to call on Vern Humphreys. If you would come, Vern will introduce to us today the Ralph Puckett Junior Soldier of the Week.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. It's my pleasure and honor always to introduce one of my heroes. Unfortunately, I usually get to meet them right before this, don't get to know them longer, but his name is Staff Sergeant Justin Cooper. Where you at? There you are. Okay. He originally hails from Minnesota. He's been in the Army 18 years. He's currently the NCOIC of Traffic Accident Collision Investigations for Fort Benning. So those of you driving on Fort Benning, beware. Don't drop his name, it's not going to help. He's been in 18 years. He's been a basic rifle marksmanship instructor, senior instructor at Fort Leonard Wood. He's been Fort Polk, Korea, Fort Riley, Fort Monroe, Fort Rucker, Ansbach, Germany, where he met his lovely wife, Brianna, who was also in the military. That sounded familiar because I fell in that same trap. And she's actually from the New York area. She was a dental hygienist, and now she works for the IRS. So don't drop his name there either. And he was deployed to Iraqi freedom for 15 months. He's had various courses that we would expect: senior leaders course, advanced leader, warrior, master resiliency training, traffic management, domestic violence, common faculty development instructor course, equal opportunity, and many more. Awards and decorations: Army Commendation Medal, 4th Oak Leaf Cluster, Army Achievement, 5th Oak Leaf Cluster, Meritorious Unit Citation, Iraqi Campaign Medal, 2CS, Korean Service Defense, military, and this is one I like the best. Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal. I had to ask him about that because they didn't have that in the old days when I was in. And he's got awarded twice. And there's a criteria they set up, roughly 500 hours providing volunteer work. He did most of it for his first one in martial arts, training for children. And the second one he got was mostly for Boy Scout stuff. And he has the German Schützenstier, the driver's badge, combat badge. He joined the Army in 2004. He's been married 15 years to his wife, Brianna. Brianna. They have a 15-year-old son, Gavin, an 11-year-old daughter, Madeline Jo, a 9-year-old daughter, Gracelyn, a 7-year-old daughter, Emma Lynn, and a 5-year-old son, Maverick. And they reside in Phoenix City. So today, we have for you, good sergeant, certificate as the Ralph Puckett Soldier of the Week. Frame that nicely and put it on your I Love Me wall for the rest of your stuff. We have a challenge coin. You know what to do with that, I am sure. We have a passport to the arts where you can take your lovely wife to the River Center, Columbus Symphony Orchestra, National Infantry Museum paid stuff, Columbus State University Theater Department, and the Springer Opera House. So find a sitter or get the oldest to sit. And take your lovely wife out. And the hardest job in the military is the spouses, so you got to reward her for that. And this is presented to Staff Sergeant Justin Cooper, written by Ralph Puckett. There's no other dedication in here, as well as a card that explains the Medal of Honor that Colonel Puckett got. So Sergeant Cooper, it's a pleasure, it's an honor to always have another service member here. Thank you very much for joining us. The mic is yours.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to the Rotary Club. I appreciate it. It's a great honor, and for something that I love doing. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to go into something that was a protective business, leading into some more protective businesses. So essentially, I'm doing what I love, and I appreciate the opportunity to come here. And honestly, if it wasn't for my wife, the continuation of what I've been doing, both her support in everything, with the long hours, with her working, and you know, it's all about that teamwork between your wife and or your spouse, and what you do. So I appreciate it, and again, thank you very much.
Staff Sergeant Cooper, on behalf of the 280 members of this club, I'd just like to again welcome you and thank you for being with us today. Please take back to the soldiers on Fort Benning how much we appreciate what you do for us and what you all do for our country. Let's give them a hand again for being with us. It's always a great day when we can introduce new members to our club. So at this point, I'd like to call on Ian Bond, followed by Pat Donahoe, and then followed by Joseph Brandon, that will introduce us new members and a returning member. So if you guys would come.
President Cedric, fellow Rotarians, it is a great day at the Rotary Club of Columbus to welcome 3 new members. Isn't that awesome? And it's my absolute pleasure to introduce to you someone who's no stranger to anybody in this room, and that's Dr. Asante Hiltz. Dr. Hiltz is currently the CEO of the Valley Healthcare System, and she is a public health professional and epidemiologist by training, and she trained in Albany, New York, relocating very wisely to Columbus, Georgia 5 years ago. And she's been very active in community service. She works with Cure Violence of Columbus. She works and volunteers with the Columbus Dream Center. But for many of you, you may recall in the early days of the pandemic, when we really didn't know what to do, how the club was going to survive. You may remember when we were all sitting at home watching the programs on our computers and phones that Asante gave a program to us on the pandemic, and she really became the advisor who guided our club safely through the pandemic. So thank you already for your great service to this Rotary Club. I'm going to present you with your Rotary pin. Encourage you to wear it proudly wherever you go, and I know you've heard us say this before, but it is absolutely true. Wherever you go around the world, this pin will open incredible doors of friendship and community and global service. So please welcome Dr. Asante Hiltz.
Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for making the club feel home and welcoming, because that's how I feel when I'm here. I've visited a lot of Rotary clubs, but this one definitely feels like home. I've gotten a lot of invitations for a membership. You know I've been a guest for a long time, but Ian is definitely the most effective persuader. And he told me the truth. He said, your friends are here, we love you here, and you should join the club and stop putting it off. And he was right, and I'm glad I finally made the decision. So I'm looking forward to being a part of your club.
President Cedric, fellow Rotarians, it's really my honor to bring Andy Hilms up here. And I know what you're looking at and you're thinking, hey, is it bring your dad to Rotary Day? No, Andy's not that old, I think. So Andy has just recently retired as a Brigadier General from the United States Army, and long service here at Fort Benning. His family has lived here the entire last 10 years or so, while Andy's moved around the world doing the missions that have come to him. And so now he's retired, now he's back, part of the full-time community, running a consulting company Consulting on what? I have no idea, but he's looking for business, but we're gonna work him here at the Rotary. Andy.
So this was supposed to be an intro and not a roast, I was told. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thanks. I really appreciate the warm welcome. You know, I've spoken here in the past, and, you know, as Pat said, just hung it up after 27 years in the Army, and our family has really enjoyed this community since 2010. I've been around for about half of that, but we've called Columbus and the surrounding area home for the last almost 13 years now. And it's days like today and being parts of groups like this that really do help me, you know, realize that, yeah, I'm home. So again, thanks for the warm welcome, and I'm really looking forward to shared experiences yet to come. Thank you.
Fellow Rotarians, please excuse my cold here. It's a pleasure to introduce a returning Rotarian, Colin Martin. He was previously a member of our club from 2007 to 2017. He has returned to Columbus as the area manager of external affairs for AT&T. And personally, he was born and raised in Columbus. He graduated from Pacelli. He attended UGA, where he graduated and obtained a commission in the U.S. Army as a field artillery officer. And over his career, Colin has served as a professional scout executive, a field director for Congressman Lynn Westmoreland, and as president and CEO of the Harris County Chamber of Commerce, and most recently as president and CEO of the Fayette County Chamber of Commerce, before he joined AT&T at the beginning of this month. He is currently pursuing a Master of Liberal Arts from Harvard University. And Colin and his wife, Beth, a physician with Piedmont Columbus Regional, have two grown daughters, Mary Catherine and Elizabeth. Besides his family, his one true passion are his Georgia Bulldogs. So please welcome Colin Martin.
Thank you, Judge. President Cedric, all the members of the club, it's great to be home. It's great to be back in the club, so thank you. Asante and, of course, Colin, we welcome you back to the club. But Asante and Andy, Dad Andy, if we can say it in that way, we look forward to further getting to know you, because we do remember you from being here before. But again, we thank you and look forward to working with you in this club. At this point, Reggie, if you'll come and give us your announcement.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to kind of give you an update on the event that we had this past Friday for our Night Ballers and We Own Friday event. So we had our event at the North Columbus Boys and Girls Club. We had almost 70 students at our event from 13 to 18 years of age. We had basketball tournament, 3-on-3, three-point shootout. We also had games, art, and other activities that was there. Anthony Randall, of course, Rodney Close, Ryan Clemens showed up. We had a lot of people show up interested in what we were doing. This event is important to us because we know that as we approach the summer, we will have a lot of issues in our community dealing with violence. And this is one of the reasons why we received this grant, was to try to create programs and activities that would get the kids off of the street, especially during those times of the night that we see most of our events occur in our city. Coming up July 20th and 21st, here at the Trade Center, we're doing another teen summit with the Boys and Girls Club. We hope, and we'll give you more information as we approach that time, but the idea is to, once again, give the kids something to do during the summer. We're also working on other programming that we will put into place at one of the rec centers at Frank Chester in our 31903 area. And it's all because of events that that grant was able to provide. We've had more people provide interest in it, so we were able to do more with the little bit of grant that we got. So if you start hearing us talk about this more, I hope you will participate. If you have a business consulting firm, we would love to have you at the Teen Summit event that we have in July, because it's important that we give these kids opportunities and things that they can learn about. But I just kind of want to give you that quick update, but thank you for your support during this event. We feel like it was successful because we had almost 50 to 70 kids, and we did 4 events. So give yourself a round of applause for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Reggie, for your passion for the community, and thank you for those that gave of your time. And we want to do more of that, so we invite you to participate in those events as he is given the dates. Joe, I'd like to call on you again. I think you have a presentation that you wanted to make to the club.
I couldn't come empty-handed. Julie gave me one of your banners, and I returned with my new club's banner. It's a much smaller club, but we like it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
for having
We
me.
receive this on behalf of the club. Thank you so much. At this point, I'd like to invite or move toward our program. I'd like to invite Julio, if you would come and present our program for today. Julio?
Thank you, President Cedric. Well, I guess a year of our wonderful Laury went by really, really quick. It's hard to believe about this time last year we were still going through all the process of getting her squared away to attend CSU and having Zoom meetings with her and her family, and now the academic year is pretty much done. It has truly been a wonderful experience to have Laury with us. As I told you, I think several times, I was not a GRSP student, but as an international student from El Salvador, we all tend to stick together when we're at least here at CSU. So I got to experience a lot of Rotary through, as a student, through my friends, and then it's, fast forward 23 years, and it was really wonderful experience for both Maggie and I to experience it as host parents as well. Being from El Salvador and moving here to go to college, I do recall and understand what it's like to leave home, leave the comfort of your home, your country. And we certainly saw that in Laury, but there's also this excitement and this newness about being in a different country, different culture, different people. I think it definitely, for her, it has been a great thing to come to Columbus and be a part of this Rotary Club with so many of you who opened your doors to her. When she first moved here, I still remember we took her to her dorm, and she said, "Could I stay an extra day at your house? Maybe another day?" And part of us, we really wanted to say yes, come, you can stay here tonight. But we encouraged her to just go to her dorm and just see what happens. And well, the results here, she's got 3 of about 11 wonderful friends that she's been traveling with. She's been to Miami, she's been to New York, she's been to Florida, the Launega, all kinds of places with her new friends. And these are friends that you'll have for the rest of your life. That I can assure you. We try to do a lot with Laury. I mean, the point here was for us to really share our culture, share what the club does. We have 2 children, a 4 and a 7-year-old. My son, to date, still calls her Rory. So that's something she'll always take with her. Every time she sees her, there comes Rory, not Laury. Laury can truly tell you she learned a lot about Midtown, too. She had to hear all about Midtown at her home. She got to hear about Midtown when she came to the office. She got to work the Midtown Mingle with us one year, so and her friends did too. So I think that was also a really good experience there for her. You know what? I'll tell you, it wasn't always pretty though. We did have a couple. Well, we had one obstacle, I guess, in our relationship in this whole year. The World Cup happened, and France and Argentina, who's those who know me and she got to know as well, is the team that I pull for, and they both went to the finals, and we did not watch the match together, and we texted every so often during the match, and I think maybe a day or two later are we good? Yes, we're good. But if that's the only obstacle we had, then I think we can consider our year pretty successful. From all the things we told Laury and that we wanted to do, that we wanted to share with her, there is one thing that I will confess that I do owe you, Laury, and I do apologize for that. From the very beginning, she asked to practice her driving and to take her to get her driver's license, and we never did that. She did get to, we put her on a jet ski once, somewhat successfully, but she rode a jet ski. This last week, we put her on the boat, and she drove the boat for quite a while and drove her friends around on the boat. So that actually went pretty well. But all in all, I think our family really enjoyed having her around. I want to thank all of you here who opened your doors to Laury. I know she had a lot of wonderful times, meals, trips. She experienced places of interest here in town through many of you. And thank you also Dr. Spears, if he's here, and the team that took her to Guatemala. I think between that and seeing a lot of the things that we do here at Rotary, I think it really transformed a lot of her thinking. And that was one of the truly impactful things that we noticed on Laury's growth this year. As you all remember, she was pursuing a studies in criminal justice, and we were having a conversation not too long ago, and she's really liked her work, what she did, what Rotary did in Guatemala, to the point that now she's actually considering a master's in servant and organizational leadership. And I think that speaks volumes of the work we do at Rotary and service above self. So I'm sure you will do great in that program as you pursue it. Laury, thank you for trusting Maggie and I with you. I mean, I hope we were okay. And to all of our Rotary members, I do encourage you, if you're thinking of where you fit in or what area to serve in this club, being a host parent is truly a great and transformative experience. Ian is a great salesman as well. So, like he told me about a year ago, he looked at me and he said, "I think you drank the Kool-Aid." And so I encourage you to at least taste the Kool-Aid. It certainly is a great opportunity for all of us. So with that, I will give you all, for the last time at our club, officially speaking, Laury. Thank you all.
Okay, this is never easy, but I would like to start this presentation by saying thank you. This was the best year of my life, and I've never felt more grateful. During this year, I learned a lot, met a lot of new people, and saw a lot of new things. Some things were more surprising than others. For example, I never heard so many different ways to say my name before. Laury, Laurie, Laurie, or Rory. I also questioned the food a lot of the time. Why is everything fried? To this question, I got multiple answers. A lot of I don't know, but also a lot of it's the South. The one answer that stuck to me the most was, I guess it's because we like it. That's a fair point, but I still don't understand how you would eat fried butter or fried Oreos. I also really don't understand grits and don't think I ever will, as well as sweet tea. On the same topic, being a French person, I had a really hard time seeing all of the croissants you guys do here. Here are some examples of the croissant you have, and on the other side, the croissant I'm used to and how it should be. Apart from the food, something we can take away from the South is the hospitality. Everyone was always very nice, always asking how I was doing or making compliments on my hair or clothes in the street. I also realized that people always say, "Hi, how are you?" but never really wait for your answer, which had me wonder if they really want to know how I'm feeling. If I enter a restaurant in France and ask how the waiter is, he will look at me thinking I'm crazy. Talking about restaurant, it was hard at first to adjust to the tips, We usually don't tip as much as you guys do here because our waiters or waitresses are paid more, so they don't need the tip. I would typically leave 1 or 2 euros at the end of my meal if the service was great, but it's not mandatory. Something else is that I feel like everything is faster and bigger here. On the same subject as before, in restaurants, they don't wait a long time to ask if you need something to drink and come back with big glasses that they will refill for free. We don't do free refills in France, and we also don't put as many ice cubes in our drinks as you guys do. Everything is bigger, not just the food portion. The car, or what you call trucks, are gigantic compared to what we have in France, and some of them make a lot of noise for no reason. I'd like to move on to CSU, my university for this year, because yes, in between all of my fun weekends and activities, I did study quite a lot. I took most of my classes in the criminal justice area, and I loved them all. Every teacher had his or her personal touch, which made my classes really interesting and interactive. I don't know about the spring term yet, but I was on the Dean's List for fall 2022 with a 4.0 GPA. Thank you. Universities seem to be easier here, but was also very different. In France, while I was doing my bachelor in business, the only chances I had for my grades were the midterm and the final. I also had way more classes. In the US, I had fewer classes and a lot more homework, which was not always easy, but it gave me more chances to have good grades. I truly enjoyed campus life. It was not always easy to live with other people, but it ended up pretty good, and our dorm was always the HQ for everyone. I had the chance to be in a university that has a lot of international students, and we all stuck together through both semesters and made great friendships. The international club for which I'm working organized a lot of events that brought us all together around fun activities. We also did our own gathering for Christmas or every birthday we could celebrate, and it was always a fun time together. I lived with these people for a year, eating lunch and dinner with them, going to classes or the gym together, and it really felt like a family. We would always take at least 3 tables or 4 at the cafeteria after going to the boot camp or the HIIT class. These are simple memories, but memories that I will never forget. Something that I also really enjoyed was living downtown. I spent most of my time in main campus, but it was just really nice to be downtown and be able to go to the coffee shop or walk down the riverside. I also like being near the music school. Some of my friends are a part of it, so I went to every recital or concert I could go to. I've never seen that many classical concerts in my life before this year. I was fortunate enough to meet all of these international new friends, but I also met some American friends. Some of them I met in classes, but most of them I met during my trip to Guatemala. This was definitely one of the best things I ever experienced. I dreamt of doing a service project for a long time, and this was just the perfect occasion. I don't think words can describe how magical this trip was. I learned a lot about the people there, and we tried to help them as much as we could. This really felt rewarding, and I hope to go back to help even more if I have the opportunity one day. This trip gave me forever friendships and memories. While we're talking about traveling, I'd like to move on to where I've been. I had the chance to see Georgia through the GRSP weekend. We went to a lot of places, and it was great to see different parts of the Peach State, but I also had the chance to travel on my own and went to Florida a few times and New York, which I loved. I also had great opportunities in Columbus and went to many college games, whether it was football or basketball, and I loved it. To go back to college life a little bit, something that I also really enjoyed was to be able to see the games, baseball, basketball, American football games, and true football games that you guys like to call soccer, something else that makes no sense to me. Talking about football, when France won the World Cup in 2018, I was in Spain and didn't get the chance to celebrate with my friends. When France almost won the World Cup this year, I was in the US, but fortunate enough to have friends that watched every game with me in French and supported the French team and me during many stressful 90 minutes. As I sometimes missed French food, in particular cheese and baguette, I could always count on my friends to do a trip to Publix to buy some brie and wine and have a French night with me. I could also count on Julio to always make good food. Julio and Maggie have been really good to me. They took me to a concert on my second week here and always invited me to activities and family events. I did my first Thanksgiving with them, first American Christmas, and first American Easter. All of these were a lot of fun and also very different from what I'm used to. The food was very good, and for once, not necessarily fried. I always had a lot of fun with Julio and Maggie, whether it was at this kind of gathering or just sitting on their kitchen floor and talking to them while they were cooking. Jude and Edie also gave me a lot of love, and it was fun to see them grow up during this year. I'd like to end this presentation like I started it, by saying thank you again. I was expecting this year to be good, but not as good as it has been. The people that I met, whether it was at school or from the Rotary, the places I had the chance to visit, and just all of the opportunities that I had made my year perfect, and I wouldn't change a thing, and I'm very grateful for you all.
So there's no way we can go away without answering questions. So if you have questions, the first one is, for those of us that have been correcting each other by pronouncing your name even wrong, would you clarify? Tell us.
I say Laury? Laury?
Laury?
Yeah, I would say Laury, but that's too French, so Laury is fine. Oui, oui.
Questions?
Well, I'll pitch in with a comment, Laurie. You know, if you all spoke British English, you'd know it's not a truck, it's a lorry.
It's a lorry.
Which is close. I just want to commend Laurie for the transformation as a public speaker. Think back 9-10 months ago. And it is rare for our GRSP student to receive a standing ovation. We're always thrilled to hear from them. So I think it's in recognition of seeing you grow as a person, as a leader, and I don't know if Cedric making you stand up every single week and say something had something to do with it, but good on you, President Cedric. Any other questions?
So what's the first thing you do when you get back to France?
Real croissant.
Laurie, where do you hope you will be 1 year from now today?
I hope I'll be in the master program here in Columbus.
And remember, the door is always open on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
if you
I'll be
need
here.
lunch and some Rotary Fellowship.
Other questions?
That was my question. What next?
Nope. Normally, Laurie does this job.
That's right. I don't know what we'll do now. You don't have to do for that.
How hard was it for you to become familiar with not only English, but the southern dialect of English coming from France?
It was not always easy, but I learned the southern accent. I'm trying to master it. I'm not going to try here, but yeah. And I was around a lot of internationals, so I heard a lot of accents and a lot of different English. So it was great. Not so hard, but a little bit.
Can we hear you say y'all?
Y'all? Hey, y'all?
Okay, let's give her a hand again. All right, we thank you so much for being with us all year. It's been a blessing to really see you blossom into the beautiful flower that you've become. Thank you so much for your presentation today, and as a token of our appreciation for you being with us, I'm going to put a children's book in our Columbus Library and graft it with your name on it. Let's give her a hand again for her presentation. Just a reminder that today's program will be both on our Facebook and YouTube page. Staff Sergeant Cooper, again, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for being with us today. And please take back to the soldiers on Fort Benning how much we appreciate what you guys do. At this point, I'd like to call on Phil if you would come back up. If you all would stand with me for our four-way test.
All right, and think about what you're saying, that you live it out in your life as well. So, of the things that we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you so much. If there's no further business, we stand adjourned. I'm sure there's ones that will take a photograph with Larry. Ian.